So this game called Sonic the Hedgehog has a bajillion playable characters. And while variety is the spice of life, I think most people would agree that when you introduce too many elements, it's not going to appeal to everyone. People liked Sonic 3 and Knuckles quite a bit. That game had 3 characters with very unique abilities, like Tails' ability to fly, Knuckles' ability to glide and climb walls, Sonic's ability to use the elemental shields in special ways. But at its core, all 3 characters weren't drastically different. You spin dashed, you jumped into robots. Sonic 06 doesn't have a core style that everyone uses. They give characters different running speeds, some can use vehicles, some snowboard, some have odd ways of attacking people. It's a lot to work with, and sometimes when you stray so far from one simple style that everyone can play like, it's going to detract from the quality. You can't fine-tune Sonic to be a great character when you're focusing on over 8 other characters. And the game was rushed, as we know, so that might have hurt it too. Might have. Either way, they wanted to make over 15 gameplay styles, so now we gotta look at them. Except for Tails. I pretty much covered everything I had to say about him in part 1. But Sonic I'm not quite done with. As I mentioned before, this game has a shop mechanic where the rings you collect in levels and town missions can earn you special upgrades. Sonic gets stuff like a slide feature, which is bleh, and the bounce move, which he originally had in Sonic Adventure 2. And admittedly, the bounce attack is good for the enemies with big health bars, as it allows Sonic to drop down on them from above and shave their health a little quicker. It's also one reason why I prefer Sonic over Blaze in this game. Though the bounce move isn't good when you're trying to utilize the light speed dash, Sonic 06 seems to love giving you jumps where you have to reach a mid-air line of rings in order to reach the next platform. You push X at that line of rings to fly along them. You also use X to bounce! You can guess what that means. If you're even slightly too far away from the line of rings, Sonic will instead use his bounce attack and plummet downwards to any possible bottomless pits that may be under you. It's weird because the previous 2005 game, Shadow the Hedgehog, actually assigned the light speed dash to the right button and left your shooting on the left button. So Shadow actually had a good idea. Why Sonic doesn't light speed dash with the B button, I guess we'll never know. Since Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic has been able to grind on rails, and if you come up to an area where more than one rail were lined together, you could use the A button to dash sideways to the other rail. You had to be holding the direction the rail was in, and some of the more reckless players could push the button too many times to completely homing attack off the side and die. It wasn't perfect. But again, to Shadow the Hedgehog's credit, they assigned the button that jumps from rail to rail to the right button like they did the light speed dash. That meant you weren't recklessly pushing the jump button like before. So again, credit to Shadow. In Sonic 06, they removed all of that. The only way to move from one rail to another is to manually jump off and try to aim Sonic on the other rail. There's no way to just instantly slide over to the next rail like previous games. That can be hazardous to Sonic's health. It's awkward. The overlaying feeling I have about Sonic is he feels awkward. His character has handled tons better in previous games, and it doesn't feel satisfying to play in this one. Now, I'm sure some of you may have noticed that there's a blue energy bar in the bottom right corner of the screen. And you may have also noticed that Sonic actually gets all of these blue energy spheres every time he kills an enemy. They fly right into him. Those blue energy spheres do absolutely nothing at all. So get this. The instruction booklet actually talks about Sonic's energy meter and says that the spheres are used to fill up some of the special gems that Sonic can buy in the shops all around Soliana. Upgrades them to level 3, actually. Or it would have if they actually finished the game. For real, the state in which the game was released to people, Sonic's energy meter is unlimited. This means he can use the power of the shop gems for as long as he wants, and there is no energy cost at all. It also means that anyone who plays as Sonic in multiplayer can be a real cheating bitch in the battle mode. Fantastic. Sonic 06, your awfulness just keeps on going, huh? Seriously, it's amazing. But let's take a look at these gems Sonic can buy, because some might actually be fun. The blue gem allows Sonic to get immediately sent into his top speed, as if he hit a dash pad you placed in front of him. It's great for gaining speed, terrible for controlling your character properly. Also, you run into any wall or person using this gem, Sonic falls over like a dumbass. The level design doesn't work for the blue gem, so I'd consider this a bust. The red gem allows Sonic to slow down time for as long as he holds the right trigger button. Not only does it slow down the clock and make getting S ranks in levels a little bit easier, the delay in speed also makes the game feel like it's in constant slowdown. It's something, I guess. The yellow gem acts like the electric shield we're all too familiar with. It gives you an electric bubble and attracts rings to you. The white gem lets you stop in midair. I'm still not quite sure what this is good for. I mean, you can homing attack at certain points, but it's not like it's a double jump or anything. If anything, it limits how forward you go after you turn off the gem. Again, it's something. The green gem is pretty glitchy. The idea is you go into first-person mode and then you throw an energy beam at wherever you aim. And when that energy beam lands at its target, Sonic gets immediately pulled into it like it's the world's most extreme tractor beam. This ability is goddamn ridiculous as all hell. Because you can send it high into the sky, Sonic can be sent all over the place. If you ever wanted to explore a level badly and see what you can glitch through or what you can land on, this is the gem for you. I even used it to discover that I could actually fall through the buildings in Soliana. And finally, we come to the purple gem, another game-breaking ability that definitely shows the meter really was supposed to drain and not be unlimited. When you hold the right trigger, it turns Sonic Mini. I have no idea why it turns you Mini, but hey, it reminds me of Sonic CD. Anywho, when you're in Mini mode, you can jump and then push the jump button again to do a double jump. And you can press it again to do a triple jump. And another to go higher. And higher. And higher. There's no limit to the energy bar, so you can literally jump your way to wherever you want. Like the green gem's crazy tractor beam, this ability totally breaks the game and makes certain platforming sections really trivial and non-existent. These gems aren't really satisfying to play through levels with, but I will admit there is a weird charm with having basically debug mode to go wherever you want. It's another reason I prefer Sonic over Blaze, because of his broken, ridiculous gem abilities. I would have listed this as a positive back in Part 1, but this is obviously another case of Sonic 06 being a train wreck. I shouldn't be able to fly through the air like this. It's just another shining example of how bad this game is. But yeah. In certain levels, Sonic actually has to run through a level while carrying the damsel in distress, Princess Elise. And this would be a first for a Sonic game, that's for sure. While carrying Elise, Sonic loses the ability to use his gems, to spin dash, and to do the slide and bounce moves. Basically, he's extremely bare bones, and the only thing he can do is jump, use his homing attack, and activate Elise's special glowy orb of death. Wait, why the hell does Elise have a glowy orb of death? I mean, she can't control Iblis, can she? When you're Soliana royalty, do they shower you in gamma rays to turn you into a mutant? But I digress. Wait, what the fuck? Wow, that's a pretty bad glitch! I totally just passed through the ground! Wait, that wasn't a glitch? That's actually part of the level design? Yeah, you actually have to turn Elise's magical orb on whenever you start walking onto the sand, because apparently you sink through it. You can sink through a desert! This isn't quicksand, mind you. It's just normal sand. Bah, whatever. The orb lets you walk on sand and water. After that stupidity, the gameplay is just Sonic without all of his abilities. The magic orb can actually damage enemies, but it doesn't reach out far enough. I think the orb would have been really great if it acted as your spin dash / boost replacement and just killed everything you ran into with it. And with the smaller enemies it does, but you generally always run into the robots yourself and take a hit. I think it would have been a lot better to be able to plow through these guys at high speeds without worrying about getting hurt. You only play as Sonic carrying Elise in 2 levels. So, yay? And now we come to the second worst aspect of Sonic's gameplay. The worst being those Mach speed sections. Hey, remember in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 when Sonic would go on a snowboard? Remember how fun it was to hit jumps and run from the giant friggin' avalanche and everything? Well, they let Sonic ride a snowboard again! In a snowy area and in a city. Have you figured out what I think this game should have been called yet? And oh my god, this is terrible! I don't even know where to begin. First off, this board doesn't operate on any kind of momentum at all. You have to hold forward in order to go anywhere, and if you don't, then Sonic just stops dead in his tracks. Even if you're on a slanted hill, you can go forward, stop, forward, stop, forward, stop. It's stupid, especially when they actually change the camera angle on you and you just stop dead in your tracks because you're still holding up, and now up is backwards. Secondly, Sonic cannot go left or right, otherwise he constantly locks up. I'm dead serious. You turn too much and Sonic gets stuck in some weird frozen state, and getting back to facing where you need to go is a goddamn task all by itself. You'll be moving the control stick in every single direction multiple times just to put Sonic back on the right track. And yes, this does come up often, because the first area in the game, White Acropolis, its level design is terrible. There are so many parts where you have to do hard turns left and right, there are trees everywhere blocking your camera, and you're bound to get stuck. This is beyond embarrassing. My inability to turn in a certain direction is one of the worst things a game can do. I cannot stress enough that a game has failed when I can't accomplish something as basic as turning around. And as if that wasn't bad enough, they decided to make jumps something you had to do successfully or else you'll fall into a bottomless pit. That alone I don't have a problem with, but they changed what was a simple fun mechanic in the previous two Sonic Adventure games and made it a risky, barely working feature that will cost players lives and kick them back to the menu. You can't just jump by tapping the A button anymore. In the old games, that's all you did. Tap A, Sonic does a badass trick. Simple, fun. In this game, you actually have to build up pressure by holding the jump button and then releasing at the exact time you need to. I swear, you can't be a second too late or a second too early. Otherwise, Sonic will jump nowhere or he'll just fall into the pit. And sometimes it's really hard to figure out what's a ramp you need to jump at. The camera angle always has these ramps going upwards, and my perspective isn't telling me that there's a big jump. It's telling me I'm going uphill, and now I might go downhill. They don't actually have orange ramps like the previous games. Why not? Because it's too realistic? Hey assholes! I'm snowboarding in a city destroyed by fireworms! Realism went out the window. Give me my fucking ramps! It's easier to gauge when I should jump and where I can jump if you would have just added some ramps. Adoy! Also, Crisis City has grind rails sticking out, as if they actually expect you to be so dead on with your jump that you'll actually land on it. Even if I could see it before I jumped off the edge, I can't move after making that jump. And if I'm even a small inch away, I'm not going to land on it. This is an unplayable mess! Sonic is the best character in the game, and that is sad news indeed. The simple fact is, his movement doesn't feel right. It's too stiff, and I never get satisfaction out of bouncing off the robots. In Sonic Adventure 2, I liked just jumping onto enemies normally. I liked homing attacking from one enemy to the next really, really fast and moving at a decent speed. Anyone with a brain could play Sonic Adventure 2 and 06 Sonic levels back to back and realize why he's so bad to play. There is a clear difference, and this downgrade never gave me fun. Ever. I just wanted to play the previous games all over again. And since we talked about Sonic, now it's time to move on to Shadow, the dark version of Sonic who debuted in Sonic Adventure 2. Back then, he was just a Sonic clone. He spin dashed, he homing attacked, but whatever. He was fun. In this game, he's a downgraded version of Sonic. He runs slower than Sonic, and his levels are far more tedious to play due to the, quote, combat-oriented gameplay style. But it's not combat-oriented. It just means you're going to be beating up more annoying enemies with giant health bars by constantly tapping the A button every time you do a homing attack. You're going to be doing this again, and again, and again, and again. It's so fucking boring. Sonic is infinitely better to play as over Shadow just on the basis that his levels aren't far longer and button mashy. I don't find constantly wailing on a giant magma monster satisfying gameplay. In fact, let's get this out of the way. The enemies did not need bigger health bars. This trend started in Sonic Heroes. You control the speed type and a power type character in that game. The bigger, healthier enemies were to encourage you to bust out Knuckles so he could kill them faster. I rolled with it then. In Shadow the Hedgehog, the enemies had health bars because they wanted you to use the gunplay in order to kill them faster. And again, I was cool with that. Many of the guns could drain a life bar down really quickly when you wanted it to. Gatling guns could kill a gun mech like it ain't no thing. But in Sonic 06, every character is what they are. They don't get stronger. Well, Shadow kind of does, but Amy doesn't, Sonic doesn't, Silver sure as fuck doesn't. So why do they have health bars? Again, Sonic is about speed. It's also about platforming, but speed is a theme of the series. It's so satisfying in the Genesis games to just kill an enemy by jumping into them once. It kept the flow fast going, and it didn't waste our time by keeping us in one room for as long as they possibly could. Even with the giant health bars, they feel the need to sometimes make you go through at least 3 waves of enemies in one single spot before the door which leads to the exit will open. I feel like a broken record, but again, this never happened in the Sonic Adventure games. You might have had to kill one enemy to open a door, but it was one! It wasn't waves of enemies with giant health bars. It's so goddamn boring. They did this in Sonic Rush as well, and I'll tell you right now, I didn't even like it there. Locking me in a room to do some enemy smashing has never been Sonic. Not unless they were boss fights. Seriously, when I think long and hard about it, it only happened once in Sonic CD, where you had to smash 3 mosquito robots in order to reach Eggman. Whatever. And if you're gonna bash the Werehog in Sonic Unleashed, go right ahead. But at least it was straight up with us that we'd be fighting with him. At least we had a huge list of combat moves, and we could actually pick up the enemies and stuff. It's better than just mashing the A button again and again and again and again. Fuck, I hate the health bar enemies. I hate the rooms where you have to kill them in order to progress. It's not Sonic. I got sidetracked, I apologize. But again, it's one reason why playing as Shadow is a chore. He moves slower than Sonic, it's more repetitive than Sonic, but I guess one positive is he doesn't do Mach speed sections. Shadow does have Chaos powers as well, and you can even buy upgrades for this power by buying them at the shop. Oh, by the way, Sonic had a whole bunch of gems to buy, so much that you had to do town missions or replay the last level over and over and over again just to buy them all. Shadow and Silver? They have like maybe 4 things, and you don't have to do town missions in order to get them all either. So yeah, Silver and Shadow's town missions are completely pointless. But again, Shadow can jump and press the attack button to shoot Chaos Spears and stun enemies. And when he upgrades to Kaioken times 10, his Chaos Spears can actually kill the smaller enemies as well. You also do really fast homing attack chains when you're in Chaos mode, making you slightly stronger and faster. I'd say it helps with the repetitive aspect of the game, but it doesn't. It's still far too slow. Again, for the most part, Shadow is just a slower Sonic who can't spin dash. And I have to ask, why? He is one of the main trio. His similarity to Sonic is what makes the second playthrough of this game feel really pointless. Granted, Shadow's storyline is far more interesting, but well, we'll get to that when we get to that. Shadow doesn't use guns anymore like the 2005 Shadow game, but he still does use vehicles. He has 4, and you'll have to use them at different points, so let's talk about them. First off is the Buggy. This all-terrain vehicle appears in certain spots and it has unlimited missiles which fire straight ahead. So you're driving up to robots or monsters and you shoot them down. And I'll admit, it feels a lot better than the bland vehicles in the Shadow game, but then I found out the damn thing can tip over. Oh, goody! It wouldn't be such a damn problem if it didn't tip over at the stupidest things. Seriously, I wasn't even trying to do that! I ran over the tower because I wanted to feel like a badass, and instead of being that, it makes Shadow look like someone who's drank a little too much cherry whiskey. It sucks at hitting the brakes on time. The levels don't complement driving around. There's literally a part in Crisis City where you hop in for like a few seconds, then it leads you to a dead end where you have to jump off to go to the other highway. Well, what was the point of that? Well, hopefully I can run over enemies, right? What the fuck? I can't even back up on a robot and run it over multiple times? Well, now it officially sucks. Seriously, I'm just passing through them. Just fucking run them over. Kill them! Ugh! The other land-based vehicle is the motorcycle, which is fun for a total of 1 time when you're taking out Eggman's train. And even then, before you actually start driving to it, you have to hit ramps and dodge trains. Or attempt to. And yeah, doesn't the motorcycle move really fast? Hold on to your butts, kids! This is way too fast! So speedy! How thrilling! Well, at least Sega and Sonic All-Stars Racing made the motorcycle fun later. It also appears one more time in Aquatic Base, and for some stupid reason, it's put in a circular room to drive around and shoot Iblis monsters. Because of all the things we want to do with a motorcycle in a Sonic game, it's spin around killing enemies we've been killing all game. Oh, and now we come to the hang glider parts. Entire sections of levels that require their own loading screen, by the way. In these parts, you're auto-flying forward, and like the Buggy, you can shoot missiles to attack incoming enemies. Well, you can. But I'm going to show you something far more fun. So now, ladies and gentlemen, Shadow wins at Sonic 06 by doing absolutely nothing! That's right, you don't even have to touch the controller in order to successfully complete these shadow hang gliding segments. I didn't touch it at all. Didn't fire a missile, didn't move Shadow out of the way. Still beat it. Let's do another run. So yeah, do I even need to explain why that sucked? And last of Shadow's vehicles is the hovercraft. It also tips over, and because you use this to traverse over water and the deadly sinking desert, you'd best avoid any kind of angled jumps at all costs. The fact that I have to be so specific with this is annoying, and don't even get me started on the levels you're actually driving around. I'll get back to this, because the real problem with the hovercraft is with the terrible level design making everything awkward as all hell. Oh, this game is just an infinite hole of suck. Every time I talk about this damn thing, it gets worse and worse. And in this video alone, I've only talked about Sonic and Shadow so far. I got 6 more characters to talk about. Fuck! So let's tackle Knuckles and Rouge at the same time. After all, they are the gliding characters who climb walls and stuff. Just like in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. You know what this game should have been called. First off, Knuckles and Rouge's glide feature also has been nerfed from what it used to be. The Genesis and Adventure games gave Knuckles a steady glide. He gradually went downwards, but it never felt like he was too heavy, and he fell much faster. In Sonic 06, they dropped so much more that it's actually harder to gauge how far away you need to be in order to reach a certain platform. These aren't nitpicks. These are core problems that take me out of the experience. And why the hell are Knuckles and Rouge so damn slow? Again, I said this with Tails, but it bears repeating. What happened to the speed of this franchise? Knuckles used to run fast. When you played Sonic the Hedgehog 3, he still spin-dashed, and everything didn't feel drastically different from Sonic. In Sonic Adventure 2, when you're running away from King Boom Boo, you felt like you were running away from him at a Sonic the Hedgehog speed. The games are about speed. This slow walk bullshit is so lame. It's not even slow for Sonic, it's slow for anything. Knuckles runs slower than Crash Bandicoot. He runs slower than Spyro the Dragon. Or Super Mario. What, he couldn't be the same thing as Sonic? Why not? It sucks that these characters are so slow. It's a betrayal of the highest order to these characters. People still like Knuckles, Sonic Team. Even though you portray him as an idiot. Shut up! People still want to play as Knuckles. It's just a shame that one of our favorite characters from the classic era is so bad now. He used to be fun! The only differences between Knuckles and Rouge are the way they attack people. Since Knuckles is known for beating up things with his fists, that's what he does. He has combo moves where you mash the X button, and it rarely fucking connects. Seriously, the character I used to rely on for bringing down giant robots in Sonic Heroes now all of a sudden has trouble taking apart those same robots when they're just lying on the ground. How am I passing through the robot and completely missing him with every swing I do? How am I not just obliterating him in one shot? What is this shit? When you jump and press the attack button, he does a really lame missile attack. where he falls down slower than if he just normally jumped with a giant fire wave surrounding him. Again, it's awkward because he dropped slower than if he was just jumping normally. Why is it like that? What was wrong with the previous drill move where you went super fast and killed anything you landed on in one hit? This is so fucking dumb. Knuckles is unplayable. He's not good for attacking people, gliding, or running around. As for Rouge, instead of kicking enemies like she did before, she now uses bombs very much like Tails does. The same problems I had with him are present here. You go into first-person view when you hold the X button down and the camera has a seizure. These bombs don't bring down the bigger guys in one hit, despite the fact that they're, bombs. The only advantage Rouge has is that you can throw a whole stream of bombs by jumping and holding the X button, allowing you to pelt one enemy with 7 or so bombs at a time. It's her only good way of attacking. At one point, in order to reach a key, they make you place bombs next to robots that are actually climbing the walls. It's hard for me to judge how close I need the bombs to be because the explosion might be too small, so I end up running into these guys just trying to place a bomb near them. Why are there enemies who hug the walls? Ugh. And yeah, you have to find keys at some point as Rouge, without a radar. No beeping indicator to let you know that you've gotten close to one, which has you bumbling around one area for at least 8 minutes just to get to that next lame shadow set piece. This game, man, this game! But if you thought all of that was bad, here's the real crippling problem with Knuckles and Rouge. Here's the serious, major problem that absolutely destroys their credibility and actually made me rage quit a second time. Knuckles and Rouge can't jump off the wall. Fuck you, game! This isn't something that is rare. It's not a one-time glitch that people will say they've never heard of. Everyone who plays the game will experience this bullshit. This inability to do a simple command like jumping off of a wall. Jesus, that's so not acceptable. If this happened in any big budget game like Mario or Metal Gear Solid, it would be considered the worst. Without a doubt. Control is so important. When I'm pushing the jump button and Knuckles or Rouge just lock back onto the thing I was trying to jump from, yeah, you're damn right I get pissed off. I'll be told, hey Clement, if you hold down on the control stick, it helps you get off the wall easier. Firstly, no it doesn't. Watch the footage I'm putting in front of you right now. I'm pushing down, I'm standing still, I'm not getting off the fucking wall. This doesn't guarantee you'll jump off. You're still fucking lock up on it regardless what direction you're moving that control stick. It's just a lucky break when you do manage to get off. Secondly, I shouldn't need a goddamn strategy to pull off something I've been doing really easily since 1994! I can't run over robots with a truck, I don't have to try with the hang gliding sections, Sonic has broken unlimited energy, Knuckles can't beat up a robot, Sonic can't snowboard without locking up in place, and I can't jump off a fucking wall?! This is the worst Sonic game ever made! And I've played pretty much all of them. There is no question. It fucking boggles my mind how anyone could look at Sonic Labyrinth or Sonic Genesis and go, oh yeah, this is much worse than 06, much worse than 06, even though 06 has fucking problems up the ass. I'm not even done. I'm only on part 3. I haven't even started talking about Dusty Desert's ball puzzle, that stupid silver boss fight, the fucking terrible end of the world level. How about the storyline being atrocious? How about the camera angles being terrible? Every conceivable aspect of this game is fucking shit! And people actually think there are worse Sonic games out there! This doesn't rank up there with Superman 64 and shit! Really? Really? Fuck you! Okay, I gotta... Where's my pills? Where are my pills? Eggman, where are my pills?
Sorry, Clement. You took all your crazy pills already. They're all gone.
Oh. Okay. I think I can handle it without my pills. I'll just, start drinking some cherry whiskey in the meantime. Yeah. I can't wait for part 4. God. Oh, this is old. It tastes so bad.